Yo, 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 welcome back to the Out of the Box Show. I'm John Wallace alongside my co-host, Chris Calderera. That is right. It is just me and Chris this week. We're happy to have Chris back on the Out the Box podcast. Luffy is taking the week off. I know we'll go ahead and get out in front of it. We took last week off as well. It was a rough week for work. Things were moving and shaking and changing, and all kind of stuff was going on. Outside the box, not out the box, but outside the box. Luffy, it was moving. So we had to give him the time and the space and give him some time off to allow him to make this epic move on to the next chapter of his life. Still part of the Out the Box podcast, same as Rory. Needs a little bit of time to get his affairs in order, if you will. But Chris, we appreciate you as always, being the absolute team player that you are. Coming off the bench, if you will. You do have a very busy schedule, and me and you and I were talking about this before we started recording. I know it's very difficult when you're in law school, right? So I know it's difficult for you to find time to come, talk my ear off and listen to me talk your ear off about LSU sports. But we appreciate your time, and it's good to have you.
I appreciate being on the show. I mean, at this point in time, Luffy's part-time. I mean, he's part-time on this show. But I appreciate being on, and I see you repping the Houston Astros. They are winning right now. I'm not a big Houston Astros fan, but kudos to them.
Yes, they can't win at home. I don't know what it is. As they sit right now, they lose the first two games at home, and then they go on the road and they're up 5-0. So I don't know what it is about Minute Maid Park, but they need to win while they're on the road.
Well, at least they're not cheating anymore.
We're going there. That was like 7 years ago. I thought we were all past that, but I guess not. Packed show for you guys. This one's gonna be kind of quick, rapid fire. Chris was gracious enough at this time, and we're just gonna get after it, right? It's kind of a I'm not gonna say a short week. I'm not going to say a bye week, but Army is coming to town, coming to Tiger Stadium this past weekend. LSU previous weekend took down the War Eagles of Auburn by a score of 48-18. Going to give a little breakdown of that and look ahead to Army, but I think everybody knows the real look ahead is the game in 2 weeks from Saturday, right? And we may even do a little preview of that, a pre-preview of that as well, if you will. But before we get to all that, I want to give you a huge shout out to the Boot Crew Media Network, bootcrewmedia.com, and on social media at Boot Crew Media. They are killing it. This time of year is bonkers for the Boot Crew Media Network. They had the Sportsman's Paradise Fishing Rodeo a while back. It was a massive success. Boot Crew Media covering sports like you would not believe. They are covering all things LSU, Saints, you name it. BootCrewMedia.com, and on social media at Boot Crew Media. Also, Blaine Loop with Forte Realty. Chris, you're a friend of Blaine at Forte Realty, and I think you can attest, and you have attested on this show before, that Blaine is the man, and Blaine wants to help you out. Make sure to call or text him at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. Massive LSU fan, and he's a bigger fan of helping you in your real estate transactions and needs. Even if you just have questions or advice, call him. He will do what he can to help you out because he loves making it easy for people in the real estate game. All right, Chris, you and I were both we attended the Auburn game. We were both out there tailgating. The weather was fantastic. We had I didn't actually see it for myself. I saw people walking around and looking up at the sun to see the eclipse. I did notice it was a little bit dimmer throughout the day. And then when I saw somebody walking with those goofy glasses, I kind of understood what was going on. I don't know if the eclipse helped out LSU's defense or if Auburn's really that bad, but final score 48-18, like we said. LSU's offense came out, spread the ball around. Jaden Daniels, 20 for 27, 325 yards, 3 touchdowns, ran for 97 yards. I think we had 6 different players, if I'm reading this right, score a touchdown in this ball game. Overall breakdown from bird's eye view as the sun finds its home in the western sky of the atmosphere and the way the Tigers performed on Saturday night.
Yeah, man. I mean, you mentioned the eclipse. I think it's funny that LSU and Auburn always find a way to play with these massive elemental, circumstances going on. The barn burning game, the earthquake game. Thought this was good. Thought this one might have been close with the eclipse game, but I believe that the spread was 10.5 Tigers before kick, and LSU easily covered in this one. So not much of a hold your breath type of thing. I mean, they outscored Auburn 20-7 in the first half. So this one was never really in doubt. And I'll tell you what, Peyton Thorne did what I thought that no quarterback that played against us could do, and he looked human. He only threw for 102 yards against this sad LSU defensive back room. So, I mean, kudos to them. Kudos to Matt House and the boys for looking okay, for looking decently against a pretty bad Auburn team.
Yes. Obviously, the conversation is the same conversation all the time. LSU is the real Tigers. It's the same thing as the Death Valley conversation that some people like to, I'd call it joke about at Clemson. But like you said, I mean, I would hats off to the defense. It seems like for once, I mean, we didn't have an episode last week, so we didn't get to really break down the Missouri game. But I mean, LSU, it was a miracle that LSU covered against Missouri after the amount of yards and points that they gave up. I would have never imagined at the beginning of this year. I forget what the final score was because it was 2 weeks ago, but LSU won by 10 or so. I think it was like 49-39 or somewhere in there. But I would have never imagined we give up 40 points to Mizzou, right? Like that, how the turntables turn, if you will. But yeah, hats off to the defense. They, I guess they're making adjustments. I think Auburn's just maybe not as good as they typically are. That it seems like you said, we always play them in these weird kind of big, just odd supernatural event surrounding games. But yeah, I mean, the offense was more of the same. Diggs was 18 carries, 97 yards, had a touchdown. Kyrie Lacey really stepped up in this game. He had 4 receptions for 111 yards and 1 touchdown. Neighbors 89 yards on 6 receptions and a touchdown. I think the big takeaway, aside from the defense, right, if you're just looking at the offensive side of the ball, is us being able to spread the ball around. I mean, I remember, on Saturday night, I'm sitting there. I was at the game with our buddy Brad. Shout out Brad. And I remember looking at him, and I'm like, does Brian Thomas have a reception in this game? Which is crazy given that he was, leading whatever statistical category in touchdowns for a time throughout the season. But that just goes to show you that not everybody has to be the man every single game. I like seeing us spreading the ball around, moving the ball at will. 563 yards of total offense. That's going to get the job done any day in the SEC.
Yeah, like to your point, it was funny that you mentioned the story about Brian Thomas, because after the game, I pulled up the YouTube highlights of it once it was finished, because I thought to myself, wait a minute, did Brian Thomas, like, what happened to him? Was he involved at all in the game? Like, I had to go double check to make sure I didn't miss any big plays from him. Like you said, I mean, it's great to see the offense spreading the ball around. Jaden Daniels, I mean, looking as good as the people that were with him last year were telling the people who were against him. 3 touchdowns, just the 1 pick on, kind of an unfortunate play. I think Brian Kelly said that somebody stopped their route or something. Whatever the reason for it was, it's neither here nor there. Great outing from Jane Dance, and I have to shout out Lacey, because he has been, at the beginning of the year, he took a lot of heat. Obviously, dropped a few balls, dropped a few big passes in big spots. But hey, the Auburn game, he came through. I think he had a drop in this one, but he definitely bounced back from 111 yards on 4 receptions and a touchdown. So glad to see that. Hopefully this is a confidence game from him, and hopefully moving forward, he can be a big part of the offensive weapons that we have.
Yes. So, all right, Chris. Just zooming out and looking at the SEC as a whole, I wanna bring this up. Okay, LSU plays Army this weekend. They have the bye weekend the following weekend, and then they head over to Tuscaloosa. Um, and we're gonna look at the Army game, but calling a spade a spade. There's not going to be much to that. LSU is going to win that game. They're going to win it convincingly. I don't even know what the spread is on the game, but I guess my question is, as we kind of wrap up talking about Auburn, what do you feel that this win, this SEC win, does for LSU heading into November? Right, you got Florida, you got A&M coming up. Like, you still have these tough matchups, but the fact of the matter is that winning the SEC West is still within our grasp. Like, it's not as far off as it may have seemed after we lost to Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think so. I think that it's a fair question, John, but I think the actual question is not what this Auburn win does, but what it didn't do. So, like, what winning the Auburn game does for this team is it just means that you're still in the hunt for the West. I don't think. I mean, let's face it. You took on an Auburn team that's now 0-3 in conference play, and yeah, they played Georgia close. I'm not taking anything away from them, but this was a team that you should have beaten. Vegas said you should have beaten them by double digits, so you beat them by double digits. I'm not gonna, look at this as any sort of bellwether for what's to come in the future. It just keeps you in play. And look, this offense. We were just going through the offensive statistics. This offense can keep up with anybody. Like, I totally think, not trying to overlook opponents here, but I totally think LSU can go into Tuscaloosa and score points against Bama's defense. I have no issues with that. The issue comes from the fact that I don't know if the Bama offense is the best matchup in the world for us, because here's the thing. Bama's offense right now seems like a big play offense. They seem like an offense that needs a big pop to get them going. And we are the perfect team to play. If you're looking for a big play type of environment, you come play us, because there's going to be some busted coverage somewhere, and Jalen Milroe is going to hit his guy for 40 yards, and it's going to be a touchdown. So I'm not at all certain that the Auburn game really tells us anything about this team other than the fact that they're not eliminated from the running in the West yet.
Chris, that was a very, very great answer. Very great answer. You're a great football mind, and so is Luffy. But I cannot lie that, I try to set up questions to kind of let you go and show off your football mind. That was such a Luffy answer if I've ever heard one. Like, and I love it, and I say that in a good way. Like you're right. We beat a team that we were supposed to beat. We beat a team by double digits, just like Vegas said they would. Now, they said that LSU was going to beat Florida State by 3. Vegas did say that, and we ended up getting killed. But I get what you're trying to say with that. I just look at it from a standpoint of, you're in Tiger Stadium, you spread the ball out, Kyron Lacey coming out of the woodwork, gaining that confidence. Your defense showed that you can actually, keep a team under 20 points, right? I mean, I guess I meant that more from the mental aspect. Obviously, we beat a team that we're supposed to beat. I just I don't know. I think this defense, after giving up so many points against Mizzou and Ole Miss, and kind of getting their teeth kicked in, I think this is a good confidence boost. And I guess that's just the way um, I view. I try to look at what you learned from each game as a player, even if it's not necessarily like the most spectacular win. Like, I mean, this Auburn or Army game this coming weekend. I mean, yeah, we're going to beat them by a ton of points, but what did we learn, and how did we take that game into the bye week and prepare for Bama? So good answer, but I will say, I thought you were Luffy for a second.
That's an honor. That's
Yes.
hearing that is a total honor to me. And yeah, no, I agree. Like the Army game, there'll be plenty of things that you can take away from that. First off, in the Army game, hopefully we play some young DBs like we should have been doing in the earlier games of the season. Okay. And Brian Kelly comes to the podium and says, well, they just don't have experience. Well, I wonder why you don't play them. So hopefully we play them in the Army game. Yeah, I agree. I think there's going to be some positives to take away from Army.
Yes. Yes. Well, before we get to all that, is just bad. And a synonym for bad would be trash. And you know who is the best at dealing with trash in town? Workbox LLC. I actually ate dinner with Martine last night. He was constantly on the phone, taking care of business deals left and right, taking care of his clients. He showed up to the restaurant. We had a group of people or whatever, and he showed up in his Workbox work truck, right? So if he had to be ready at a moment's notice, he's like a minute man from the 1700s in Boston. He had to be ready at a moment's notice to take care of his clients. If you need a portable office building, luxury restroom rental, roll off dumpster, porta potty, you name it, call Martine at Workbox 225-343-4886. All right. Also, last thing on the Auburn game, I absolutely I feel like everybody in the stadium, the most electric point in the game was when that guy ran on the field, and the cops form tackled him. I just want to give that guy a shout out. I love when people do that. I wish they showed it on the ESPN broadcast, because I think it's an absolutely hilarious phenomenon. I would never do it. Um, but one, watching cops run out there and form tackle a drunk guy, watching the drunk guy stick his tongue out at the student section, like he had no shot. He knew it. He knew he was getting arrested or whatever. I don't even know if you get arrested, but just shout out that guy. I love when people do that.
It was quite a moment in the stadium. Yeah.
I mean, you have 100,000 people cheering for you, and you're just like, there's no way out. You're toast, but you just got to embrace it. So
Yeah. That's all you can do when you've made a decision like that. That's all you can really do. Soak up your 30 seconds of fame and prepare to get tackled.
yes. All right, let's look ahead to Army. Obviously, not much to sit here and break down. We know Army's going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to run the triple option. That's what Army is based around. They're 2-4 coming into Tiger Stadium this weekend. They've lost to ULM, Syracuse, Boston College, and they're just coming off a fresh loss at Troy by a score of 19-0. Their key wins on the year: Delaware State, who they beat 57-0, and UTSA, who they beat 37-29. Like we said, I mean, this isn't. I don't think this is a 20. What year did we lose to Troy? 2016, lost to Troy. I don't think this is a sneak up spot. I think our offense is going to come out and score points. I think you and I will probably agree that the goal here is to keep Army out of the end zone, and to really have our defense see how many points they can limit a team to. Obviously it may not be the biggest confidence boost that it could be. It's no win against an SEC school or whatever, but I think this weekend is a chance for like more of the same from last weekend. Our offense to get as many guys as possible, the ball and into the end zone, and our defense to do the opposite, get as many guys and defensive backs to practice their angles, practice the fundamentals that they're going to need in 2 weeks when we head to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, well, like you mentioned, Army played Boston College tough, and Boston College played Florida State tough. So by the transitive property, Army played Florida State tough. Probably by the transitive property, you could say Army played Florida State tougher than we actually played them. But that's neither here nor there. That's done and over with. Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you said. They're a physical football team. I think Brian Kelly mentioned that in his Monday press conference. They're a physical team. I'm gonna be honest. I see a lot of hype on the end zones for this weekend. LSU's painting the end zones camouflage for the Army game. I don't love that. It feels, a little make-a-wishy to me. I mean, this team's looking to come and beat you. This is a football team that is serious and they want to come beat you. I really wouldn't give them too much of a hat tip. Yes, they are servicemen who are going to protect the country, but I think that the focus does need to be on, like you said, just getting back to the fundamentals, making sure that we have things like tackling down. I mean, you should never have a game like the Ole Miss game again, where you're missing 30 some odd tackles. So this is a game where, hey, you should be able to work on those fundamentals. You should be able to work on how to tackle properly. You should be able to work on getting younger guys in, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, you complain about all this lack of experience. This like the Grambling game is your shot to get some experience. It's your shot to do some self-scouting as you head into the bye week and prepare for Bama. So, I know that Brian Kelly doesn't love the fact that we're playing Army right now just because they play such a different style. Like you go from playing, regular football teams, a bad way to put it, but like a typical college football offense in Auburn to an atypical college football offense in Army, and then back to a typical college football offense against Bama. That's not always the easiest transition for a defense. And to be honest with you, making things harder on this defense, you want to tread lightly there. But I do think that it is coming at a good time before the bye week so that you can start cleaning up things. Because, look, you're not going to have to go to Bama. You're not going to have to go to Tuscaloosa and be perfect. But you're going to want to be cleaner than what we've shown in the games before Auburn, at least.
I think you're right, Chris. I think this game it almost might hurt LSU to have this game in the slot in the season where it is, right? Because you're like you said, it's such a different brand of football than even if they flopped our Army and Mizzou and we were playing Mizzou this coming weekend away. It could almost be work negatively towards LSU in the sense that you're game planning so differently and you're playing a team that is we'll call it what it is, smaller and slower than what a lot smaller and slower than what you're going to see in Tuscaloosa in 2 weeks. So I don't know, it is what it is. The schedule is the schedule. I think there is things to learn from this game, and I think any game on the schedule has the potential to help you out, help you iron out any kinks that you may have heading into one of your toughest challenges of the season.
Yeah, football's football, man. Put the pads on, go run your offense, go run your defense, get some guys who don't typically play in. I mean, this game has all the makings of a beneficial game before Bama. But yeah, like we've both alluded to now, the styles and offense being different. Not the idea. Even if you flip I know we played Georgia State later in the year. If Georgia State was in this spot and Army was in the Georgia State spot, I'd feel a little better about it. But at the end of the day, there are no excuses. And whatever happens on the field Saturday at 6:30 in Tiger Stadium is not going to impact what's going to happen in Tuscaloosa, even if, God forbid LSU loses. I mean, at the end of the day, they're independent weeks of each other, and the team's got to look at it that way.
Yes. Yes. All righty. I hope you have some House Always Wins picks. I know you wouldn't let me. I know you wouldn't come on the show without having House Always Wins picks ready to go. If you don't, you're in luck because I'm about to hype up the house in Tigerland. The house in Tigerland is the spot to be this fall. I can't believe it's already middle of October. Got Halloween coming up in the next couple weeks. Hell, the semester's more than halfway over. But the House Bar in Tigerland is the spot to be. Get on over to the House Bar in Tigerland. Hit up Jeff or Casey. The House Bar in Tigerland helped us out tremendously by hooking us up with a care package, is what I'll call it, for our tailgate last weekend. You saw the House Bar in Tigerland flag flying at the tailgate, as well as the Out the Box podcast flag, and the House Bar hooked it up, and it was that much better of a tailgate because of that. We cannot thank them enough. That is the type of people that are running the best bar in Tigerland. Get on over to the House Bar in Tigerland, have a private party there, or just go there before, during, after the game. You can go get your wristband early on in the day. Say this coming Saturday, you head on over to the house, you get your wristband, you go out to the tailgate, you go to the game, and then you go to the bar after the game. And you know who doesn't have to wait in the line like all those other suckers? You, because you were smart, and the House Bar in Tigerland made it happen. Get on over to the House Bar in Tigerland. Shout out. Fantastic tailgate this past weekend. All right, Chris, I'm not going to update the records of the House Always Wins segment because we let the fans down last week by not having an episode. But I think we should go ahead and start with NFL. I think NFL has been in my mind, it's been a little bit tricky, but that's what they made the comeback for. As you know, I don't take unders, so I've scoured the board and I found the best over to take this weekend. This Sunday, the Lions and the Ravens are meeting up.
Oh, are you serious?
Is that what you got?
I like that game. What were you going to say, though?
It's over 42.5. I got over 42.5 on that. I could easily see it going under. The Ravens, I believe, were a little bit. They missed some opportunities this past weekend, but yeah, that's what I'm going with. Do you have an NFL pick yet, or do you want me to do my college?
Well, go ahead and do your college because I mean, you kind of. Yeah, I wasn't gonna do the Ravens game, but I was thinking about it, so you kind of threw me off a little bit.
All right. Ole Miss goes to Auburn this weekend. Auburn sucks. Ole Miss is favored by 6.5 points. Ole Miss is going to put up a score similar to LSU did this past weekend against Auburn. I know that's not like what LSU fans really should be rooting for, given that Ole Miss beat us. But I think if something's gonna happen, right, and it's not your specific team, then it's okay to take the money and run whenever a situation like this arises. Do you agree?
I do. Yes. All right. You want me to start with my NFL pick?
NFL.
Okay. And look, these are I'm gonna hit you with two crazy picks. I'm not as confident in the NFL one, considering that I just looked it up, but the Arizona Cardinals are plus 7.5 dogs against the Seattle Seahawks. That is a lot of points in the NFL, my friend. That is a lot of points. I think that a lot of people are looking at the situation that Arizona is in right now. They're a little wary about what's going on there. But the Seahawks have not looked like world beaters. The Seahawks have not looked like a team that is going to carry a 7.5 point spread against somebody. And look, Josh Dobbs has not been playing terribly without Kyler Murray in the saddle. The Arizona Cardinals have been able to score points. Okay. So I like the Cardinals plus 7.5. A pure matchup for me. Just too many points on the board there. My college pick, a lot of people might give me grief for this, but this is a pure spot play. This is a pure spot play. Clemson and Miami this weekend. I like Miami plus 4. Okay. A lot of people are selling Miami right now. They had that fiasco against Georgia Tech where they didn't kneel the ball. Then they get just absolutely run by North Carolina late. Okay. So North Carolina beat them last week by 10. Now they're playing Clemson, and to be honest with you, John, it's kind of a must-win for both programs, okay? Because one of these programs is going to leave Saturday and say, hey, we're not going to win a conference championship this year. Like, that goal is off the board. At the same time, I like the situation that Miami is in from a pure spot standpoint. I like their situation better than Clemson. I think Clemson has some internal problems like Miami, but their internal problems are more so, hey, coach hasn't gone to the portal, and the team is the team, and we're not as talented as Miami. So I like Miami as the dog in that one. So I got 2 dogs: the Cardinals plus 7.5 and Miami plus 4.
I love both those picks. I love dogs. I love that you don't care. You do your analysis, and you're a great football mind, like I said, and you those are sharp plays right there. Clemson, I've been done with Dabo, so yes, I would prefer them. I'd prefer to Miami to just win it outright, right? Um,
Yeah,
and yeah, I
I think
mean, I could see the Seahawks Cardinals game being like 7-3 at the start of the fourth. Just like not an entertaining game at all. Just boring, running the ball, nobody scores, and ends. A team wins by a field goal or 4 points or whatever. So I like both those picks.
look, you put me on the spot. I didn't forget. I just forgot my NFL pick, but I have my college one locked and loaded. I'm confident in both. Give me the 2 dogs.
I knew you wouldn't come on this show without having at least one pick, and you did. So I think you did good, and I think your analysis was great, Chris. Thank you so much for joining us. But before we do your little send off, and I hope you'll be back next week. Luffy's having Luffy's got a little extended absence, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Shout out to the House Bar in Tigerland. Fantastic tailgate. Shout out Casey and Jeff. Casey was at the tailgate. Awesome time. Great people. House Bar in Tigerland. Workbox LLC. Call Martine 225-343-4886 and call Blaine Loop with Forte Realty. Blaine is the man. Chris, I don't know. I might be looking to buy some properties soon. I might hit up Blaine at 504-858-0031. I mean, you can do it at any time in the day too. So
he's the guy to hit up.
Crew Media. What's that?
He's the guy to hit up if you're going to do it.
Yes. As well as you should also hit up the Boot Crew Media Network. Content. It's a great time of year. Football. BootCrewMedia.com and on social media at Boot Crew Media. All righty, Chris. Thank you so much for coming on the Out of the Box podcast. And I'm not calling you out, but I'm just going to tell you what people are saying. And this comes from a place of love. People are very upset about the lack of elegant, poetic articles that have been posted to bootcrewmedia.com. You don't have to make any promises, but give the fans and the people some hope that it will return at some point.
Look, John, at this point in time, all I can say is that the ball is not in my court when it comes to that. We're waiting to hear back from certain powers that be. So we'll see. I'm not going to say there's no hope for it, but I'm also not going to sit here and make promises that I can't keep. But yes, I do appreciate that people have read and they're missing the articles. I do miss writing them. Time has been a little bit of a crunch. So we're trying to work some things out. But yeah,
Understand. And get this, is that wasn't me that was saying that. I understand your situation. I understand that you're grinding. I see you grinding. Don't think it doesn't go unnoticed. That's just what other people were saying.
I understand.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for joining us on the Out of the Box podcast. We will see all of you next week.